So alright guys, I'm back out here working on this red 924S again, and we're going to pick up where we left off. Last time I just finished repairing the fuel tank, and today I'm hoping to finish up a few things so this car can go home. So far the fuel tank repair is looking pretty good. I'm just going to sit here and make sure it doesn't leak before I take it on test drive. While I did that, I thought I'd go ahead and touch this up. The owner told me to just sort of cover it up the best I could and see if I couldn't get it to blend in. So I have two touch-up paints here. Both are guards red. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the acrylic is a little bit darker, and I believe that the alkyd paint here is a better match, so that's what I'm going to go with and just see if we can't make this blend in. It won't look great, but it should look better than it does. I'll go ahead and remove this so that way I can get behind that and I don't have to worry about getting paint all over this. So alright, that paint is nearly a perfect match. From about 3 feet, you can't tell it was touched up at all. I did tell him it wouldn't look perfect since I had to use a brush. If I had an airbrush gun, then I think I could have done a better job, but overall it doesn't look too bad. I think once it dries, you're never going to see that that was touched up. So I thought I'd just walk around the car right quick and just look for any more chips that I can fix. I did notice this one when the car first came in. I think I'll go ahead and touch that one up. And you can see here that there was one already someone touched up and the paint doesn't match exactly, but I'll leave that one alone. Other than that, I don't really see any other chips, and I think once I fix that and then get this bumper cap and put back on here, this paint is going to look fantastic. Here's how the rear bumper turns out. You can't really tell it, and the fuel tank patch seems to be holding up. Last night I went ahead and cleaned the interior up a little bit. I vacuumed it out and armor-alled the dash. Looks really nice in here now. So today I'm going to be installing this new DME relay. The owner wants me to install this one and then put the old one in the dash. So the easiest way to access the DME relay on an early 944 or a 924S is to remove this upper fuse bank here. Once you remove the two screws, it will just drop down out of your way, and then you'll be able to see the DME relay there. So here's how it's going to look once you have the DME relay removed. And you can see down here that I have the DME relay that I removed and the new one that's going in. So with the new DME relay in, I'm going to go ahead and put this fuse block back in. With the fuse block installed, I'll go ahead and put this other relay in the dash. Alright, with that new DME relay installed, I'm almost finished with this car. You can see that I finally got around to replacing that broken dipstick. And down here I even replaced the air box, so that way everything looks nice and tidy now. Today I thought I would go ahead and try and charge the air conditioner. I told the owner that I would take it to an AC specialist if I needed to, but he just wants me to try and charge it and see how that goes. So what I'm going to do is start the car and then put the AC on max, and I'm going to try and see if it will hold a charge. You can see it looks like someone has already tried to convert this to R134A. So I thought I would just try it out and see how it goes. So alright, I got the air conditioner charged up now. It does appear to be holding that charge. The compressor is working great and the air inside is getting really cold. I put a thermostat here on the dash, so that way you can see just how cold the air gets. As you can see right now, it's about 50 degrees out here, and not really the ideal weather to try and charge the AC system, but I just tried to play it safe and not overcharge it. I don't want to blow the seals out. But anyway, I had to turn everything off since you can't really hear me over the engine. But here in just a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and start everything up. We'll watch the temperature go down here, and then I'll take you around and show you the compressor running. Alright, so far so good. I think the owner is going to be very happy with this. So alright guys, yesterday I got a bunch of parts in, and I'm going to try and hustle so that way I can get this done and this car can go home tomorrow. In the big boxes we've got front and rear brake rotors, and in the little box here we have the new brake pads, and in this white box here we have the caliper rebuild kits. Have the rotor off now, and I'm going to go ahead and start opening these packages over here. Alright, I figured while I had the wheels off I would go ahead and repaint these lug nuts. Alright, we finished this side. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's the new rotor, and it has brand new ceramic brakes. And I've got James over here doing this side now. Alright, last night we got the front brakes finished up. We rebuilt the calipers and flushed all that nasty brake fluid out of the system. It was a lot worse than it looked. And then we installed brand new ceramic pads and coated Zimmerman rotors. I've also repainted the lug nuts. You can see that I had to stick a spare set on here so that way I could jack up the other side and let this side down. But here's what the lug nuts are going to look like. And you can also see that there is some red spray over dust from where they painted the car. So on this side I've gone ahead and used some wheel polish to remove all of that, and you can see that I've got the lug nuts on over here. So here's a closer look. In there you can see the brand new pads, the brand new rotor, and just how great that wheel looks. And today we're going to be doing the back. Alright, we got this wheel finished. Next we'll move over to the other side. Alright, we have all four wheels done now, and you can see the rotors here. The calipers have been rebuilt. See the new pads here. We have fresh brake fluid in the system. Alright, we got all the calipers rebuilt and the new rotors installed. When replacing the rotors on the fronts of early cars, you have to remove the hub, which also means you have to disconnect the speedometer cable from this wheel here. And I noticed as I was disconnecting it that someone had it rigged up because they had broken the tip off, so I'm going to be replacing this one with a new cable here. So once you have your old cable disconnected and it's just laying under the hood like this, what you'll need to do is go ahead and crawl up underneath the dash and remove the DME, and then you'll be able to unscrew it from the back of the speedometer. So alright, when you're removing the old speedometer cable, what you're going to need to do is just remove the E-clip from the hub here and then pull this straight out, and then you can put it in the engine bay like I did, and then you'll come inside and move the DME out of the way and a few other things, and then you'll be able to unscrew it from the back of the speedometer. And when reinstalling it, you'll want to install the new cable from the inside out, since you can't run this end through the firewall. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and start moving things out of the way, so that way I can unscrew it from the back of the speedometer. So alright, as you can see, I got the DME out of the way. It doesn't look like I really had to, but I went ahead and did it anyway just for a little bit of extra room. And then I pushed the speedometer forward, and then I was able to unscrew this from the back. And it's free now, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull it on out. It's alright, last night I began installing the new speedometer cable, and while I was able to get the old one out by just reaching up underneath the dash, I was not able to install the new one that way. I actually had to come in here, remove the steering wheel, and then pull this entire cluster out. So keep that in mind, that you can get the old one out fairly easy, but to get the new one in, you're going to probably have to pull all these gauges out at once, install the new cable, and then put everything back together. Alright, I've got everything put back together inside now, and I just need to attach the other end of the cable to the hub and then install the DME, and I'm finished here. If you look at the back side of this spare speedometer that I have, you can see exactly why you have to pull this entire cluster out to replace the cable. Now, getting the old cable off isn't that hard. You can actually just slide the speedometer forward a little bit and then get your hand in there, but trying to put this back in is next to impossible without pulling the cluster. So you can see this is the bottom here, and that's how this sits in there, and then trying to bend that cable at this angle and with all that stuff in the way is just very difficult. So you're better off just pulling the cluster, attaching the cable, and then putting it all back together like that. So alright, now that everything's put back together inside, I need to attach this end of the cable to the hub. So I need to get the car jacked up and get this wheel off. I have the car raised up and the wheel off now. So I'll go ahead and begin routing the cable. Once you have your cable routed, you're going to go back behind the caliper here and you're going to find a hole that you're going to push the cable through. Alright, as you're pushing the cable in from behind, you'll need to rotate the hub here until everything lines up. Once it does, you can push real hard and then you'll see the cable pop through. So alright, once you have your cable pushed through, there is a clip that goes on the end to keep it from coming back out. And you're going to install that. If you lose yours, these are available at most hardware stores. And it just pops on like that. The problem with the other cable was that someone broke that tip off and there was no way to get it to hold on there properly. So that's why I changed the cable. Once you have your clip on, what I like to do is put a little black RTV over this. This is how the factory had it. Kind of goop it on there. Once I get enough on there, then I'll try and make it look nice. That just seals it up, keeps any dirt out of there. You don't want dirt getting through there and into the bearings. So there you go. Once this cures a little while, I'll go ahead and put the wheel back on and get the car back on the drum. I've let this sit for about an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel on now. So alright, next I'm going to be installing the DME. You can see that I have two here. This is the one that came out of this car, and this is my spare DME. I'm still waiting on this race chip, so I thought when it came in, I would just install it in this one, then take it to him, and then plug this one in, and he could just have this one, and I would use this one as my spare. But this one has been taken apart, and someone did not put it back together correctly. You can see the cover is really loose, so I thought I would just keep this one, install this one, and when the chip comes in, he can have his original one back. Alright, so I've got my spare DME installed, and I'm just going to let him use that until his performance chip comes in. It was supposed to be in a long time ago, but unfortunately the company called me and said that their chip burner was down and it would be a few weeks. So what I'll do when it finally comes in is I'll install it into his DME, and then I'll go to his house and we'll just swap his DME back in here. It's alright, I just got back from a test drive and everything's working fine. The AC's still cold and everything. There is an issue down here where this doesn't hold vacuum and starts to click. Now you can push it in and it'll stay for a while, then it'll just start doing it again. So I'm going to go ahead and swap a spare one in there and see if I can't fix this issue. And even though the speedometer is working now, unfortunately it bounces around a little bit too much, so I told the owner what the issue was and we decided to go with a genuine cable, but it's got to come from Germany and it'll take a few weeks. So I have the AC on, and as you can see, this is just clicking. So I'm going to take a spare one and swap it in and see if we can't fix this issue. It's alright, I have the old part out and there is a tear here, and that is the issue, so I've got a new one I'm going to put back in there. It's alright, I have the spare one swapped in now and it's working perfectly. Also, come check us out on Facebook. I'll put a link in the description below. I also want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. These videos would not be possible without you. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.